tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa sabba papassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada sacitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasanam. Therwan Saranai, very blessed day for all of you. First, I like to say thank you to everybody who is organizing this conference at the Buddhism at the time of the coronavirus. Something very appropriate for us to discuss for the benefit of all, learn ourselves the teachings of the Buddha, and how can we proceed, how should we proceed for each one of us to think. It reminds the current situation of the world, remind us the plague that took place during the Buddha's time in Vaishali. So we know we chant Ratana Sutta around the world last couple of weeks. In all the traditional Buddhist countries still continue to do so because it brought some solace to people during the Buddha's time. We still keep blessing, reflecting on this Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, virtuousness of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, wishing well-being, wishing peace, wishing good health to the people around the world who are really experiencing difficult time that they're going through. But it's really, this is the time to think. We are at the juncture of very dangerous time, health-wise, disastrous time in the history. So therefore, it's nice to reflect. Now, I suggest for all of us to go to fundamentals of this. What did Buddha teach us? As I was reciting, I thought of that gatha. Very briefly, what is the teaching of the Buddha? Shun evil, do good, purify our minds. Purify your minds, that's what it is. Sacitta pariyodapanam etang buddhana sasanam. Purify your minds. These are the Buddha's teaching. Not all the Buddhas are teaching this. Very briefly, this is what they were teaching. So therefore, now we have to reflect on it. We traditional Buddhist, I'm asking this question, are we practicing what he taught? Did we do what he guided to do? As a very compassionate father, he was always encouraging us. Be diligent. So work hard. Even the last moment of his life. That's his advice to his followers. appamadena sampadeta. Be diligent and be a lamp unto you. So in reality, if you look at it, if you really examine ourselves, if you really be honest to yourself, you can find out if you did practice or not. So we were, from childhood, we were all taught to practice. We every day, almost every day I believe, we are observing precepts, renewing precepts, and practicing metta, or practicing a little bit of meditation. Try to develop our mindfulness. But I do not know if we learn, even if we learn it in Dhamma schools or daily schools, but if we were continuing, if we were applying these teachings into our everyday life, I believe this is what we had to look at. Many of us, what we did was getting up early in the morning, dress up and run to the work. People who go to work. And people who were relaxedly doing this thing, working, was people who had their own work. They did their own way, but still sometimes they have to rush, because if everybody is rushing themselves, that pressurizes that kind of person too. So therefore we are all running in a race without having good understanding, without much reflecting on things what we were doing. So we ignored ourselves. We lost our balance. We did not maintain the balance our everyday life. Only ran after, because of running with the others, like according to that story, that like everybody else running with the rabbit. So they always ended up until the huge or great cliff. Up to that point, all animals were running after the rabbit, who said, "The world is rolling around, and therefore I'm going to save my life." So everybody heard and start running. Likewise, people also, because the other person is having a job and achieve these goals, financial success, material success, they start running. But never stopped for a moment to think what would happen if we do not maintain our spirituality, spiritual balance. I don't think 1% of us were thinking about it. I know there are some people who really think and practice calm, peaceful, but not many of us. So therefore it's time for us to get back to those fundamentals. Start from the very beginning, as Buddha said. Mindfulness is the key to all kinds of achievements, spiritual as well as even to present condition, to get rid of this, not to contaminate, not to get infected, this dangerous virus into us. The key is the mindfulness. I think there is That's a good lesson. Maybe Mother Nature wanted us to learn from that. Learn from Mother Nature. Or Mother Nature trying to teach us, hey guys, you are too fast. You don't need to rush. By rushing, what you are doing, polluting whole universe. Universe cannot breathe anymore. Stop it. So now we all can stay home. Have to stay home. Because Mother Nature is teaching us a huge lesson. So we have to do it. I'm sure otherwise nobody would be staying home. Even now you are complaining. It's boring. So these are habits. You are running after habits. So it's time for us to watch. Let go of all these unnecessary habits that we are carrying. Don't run because the other person is running. Don't buy things because your neighbor is buying. You are always copying another person. What is this competition is about? For what reason are we competing? You don't need to compete. Be at peace. Competition you have to pay. So many different ways that we have been in this cycle, unhealthy cycle, every day. Even pressurizing child at home, pressurizing the wife or your spouse. So this is what we all did in everyday life. Is that we supposed to do? No. What did Buddha teach us? Buddha saw this nature, craving, unsatisfactory craving. He saw. He was, being a royal prince who was supposed to be the king after his father. But he didn't crave for it. Since he Bodhisattva, he practiced for a long time to be the Buddha, find the path to happiness for the benefit of all, for the benefit of many, for the happiness of many. For that reason, what did he do as a prince? He left his home. He went away from his home and he found it. He was very joyful the day he became enlightened. So whole week he was sitting under that Bodhi tree, being joyful, getting rid of that thirst, that hunger for all these worldly things. So that is the teachings that he shared with us for us to find our own happiness. Because he said, Buddha only can show the path. You have to walk on the path. This is what his teaching was about. So he guided us on it, but we were ignoring it. Even now, that's why you're saying it's boring. Now, being at homes, you can do something. Whatever you could not do up to now, you can start practicing. Oh, this is a treatment for myself. Really, I did not have a chance to practice what Buddha taught, even though I am paying respect, paying my homage every day. I sincerely didn't have time to practice and experiment myself. Even though he said, Ehipassiko, come and see. He invited, come and see. You have to experience it by yourself. But I didn't have time. Start thinking about it. Reflect in that manner. And then you can enjoy even today the condition where you are in, and for the positive or for the well-being of your life. You can guide your children to do the same. So explain what is this situation is. So if you do so, I'd like to really show how our Buddha encourages us, not just once in a while sitting. So he encourages us to diligently practice it. Diligently practice. How? How diligent? Like a person whose hair is on fire. Like a person whose dress caught up fire. So that is how he encouraged. So if you try to put off that fire out of fear to your death, thinking, so you really run and diligently make effort to put off that fire. So this is how he encourages us. Similar rashness. This you should be practicing spiritual path. You should be practicing this mindfulness. Being mindful, you can do any work without hurting another person or without contaminating yourself with unwholesomeness. So of course, even though you are doing a paid job, still you can gain spiritual strength as well as you can provide nicer, compassionate provide service to other people, well-being of other people, happiness of other people. What we have to have is that, as Buddha taught. Basic, he encouraged many discourses, practice 5 precepts, and 4 sublime qualities, what we call as metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. These are divine qualities. We call it 4 sublime state of living or noble qualities. Can't we do this? If we be mindful, we can do this. We can develop these qualities. We'll develop these virtues in everyday life. So you can be happy at the end of the day, even though then you can, in addition to this, you can give at least half an hour for yourself, sitting and meditating and improving a skill to be here, be now. Then you would not do any wrongdoing because you can see it. Key is this mindfulness. So I really like to show that how Buddha encouraged by reciting a gatha in English. Like a massive boulders, mountains pressing against the sky, moving in from all sides. So aging and death. Some rolling over living beings, noble warriors, Brahmins, merchants, workers, outcasts, and scavengers. They spare nothing. They trample everything. Here elephant troops can hold no ground, nor can chariots or infantry, nor can battle of wits or wealth win out. So a wise person, seeing his own good, steadfast, secure confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. One who practices the Dhamma in thought, word, and deed receives praise here on earth, and after death rejoices in heaven. This is how he encouraged when the king presented to the Buddha what he was doing in the untimely, in the real middle of the day when he visited the Buddha. So therefore, we had to be mindful. This virus is despairing nothing. So discriminating nothing, no one, everybody. It could be the head of the state, as we have seen now. It could be the person who is sleeping on the street bench. So it does not discriminate anybody. So therefore, it's time for us to stay back, relax, and think and apply the Dhamma that we know, the Dhamma that we have learned from our childhood. It is not just for us to hear and let go, listen and let go, but listen and practice. So I wish all of you have this determination and courage to practice. May you be well and may you be happy.